Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. This one is all about a message meant to find you. So, we're going to see what your guides, angels, ancestors, your tribe on the other side wants you to know right now, what messages they have for you. And today we have a selection of vegetables for you to choose from. So, you're going to see which of these vegetables is sticking out to you, calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it. And then as soon as you've made up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump right into your pile. I'm going to show you the numbers on each of the piles, and then I will also show them to you up close, each of them. So this is pile 1, then we have pile 2, and finally pile 3. I also want to mention that I do have my Patreon up with a ton of additional readings. So if you like how I read tarot and you want to see more of it, then head on over to Patreon to get access to all my additional readings. I just posted one all about what the purpose of your connection was. So if you've been left wondering, why did I meet that person? What was the point of them coming into my life? That's a great one for clarity on that. Before that, I posted one all about where you'll be in 4 years' time. And before that, messages from your inner child. But there are over 75 exclusive readings you'll only get access to when you sign up for Patreon. You also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos, so they get posted over there first. So if all of that sounds good to you and you want to join me on Patreon, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. Let me show you what each of them look like up close. So this is pile number 1, little bell pepper or capsicum, as they say in some countries. Then we have this lovely looking tomato, nice and juicy, red looking. And finally, this potato with the little eyes all over it. So like I said, as soon as you made up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps and jump into the pile that's right for you. I also want to mention that I do private readings. So if you need clarity on a certain issue, if you have a specific question you want insight about, or if you just want me to open channel for you, check in with your guides, your team, and do a one-on-one personal reading, then you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. And the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Now let's go ahead and jump into pile 1. Hey, pile 1. So if you picked this green pepper, this is going to be your reading. And this actually comes with this little knife. So I'm going to cut it open that way. And you can see the inside has little pepper seeds and everything. Kind of cool in case you're also into the fake food toys, but let's get into your cards. I've been feeling the live shuffle vibe lately, so that's what I'm gonna do again. So let's see what cards we have for pile number 1. King of Pentacles, okay, 5 of Pentacles. There's something about you guys getting your heart broken lately or feeling like you really miss someone. Some kind of a message with that, like a relationship that went awry or something. The Ace of Pentacles, maybe it was a deep connection, but nothing happened with it. Some of you guys may be getting a message soon when it comes to that person. You may be hearing from them at a certain point in the future. I also feel like Spirit is saying not to use your energy on that, like focus on yourself a little bit, because it's almost like the more you build your own life, the more you're focusing on your own thing and your own strength. I think that the happier you're going to be. It's almost like the more of a positive energy you can be in when it comes to your own energy field, the less energy you're going to be giving to this other person. The happier you are in your life, the more fulfilled you're going to be, and the more you're going to radiate that magnetic energy. So if there's been a disappointment, if it's not romantic, that's fine. But if there's been a disappointment lately, I feel like Spirit is urging you not to dwell on that and to kind of keep your eyes on the prize. Keep yourself focused on what you want to bring in, not what you don't want to bring in. Not the things that didn't work out, but the things that are going to work out so beautifully for you. Because I feel like a lot of you guys, first of all, Spirit is acknowledging you've already done a lot of work. You've already done a lot of shadow work. You've already done a lot of hard work. So you're already so close to, you're so much better than you were in the past. You've already worked so hard, and Spirit just wants to give you like that pat on the back of like, look how far you've come. Like, just acknowledge that for a moment. Even this thing that was a disappointment, it feels like maybe whenever it came in for you, like you could not have manifested this or managed whatever this was even a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I know you're disappointed because it didn't work out exactly like you had wanted, but there's a message that even the fact that it came in at all is a confirmation of the manifestation work you've been doing and the shadow work, because it feels like a lot of you guys have been really willing to do the hard work with regards to like your trauma, disappointments, a lot of hard things in life, and you have put that work in. You have not shied away or been scared or taken the easy way out. So I feel like your guides are very, very proud of you for that. And I feel like they are telling you to take this as like a good thing. Take it as it's Spirit is playing that line from like Taylor Swift's song Gorgeous, where she's like, you should take it as a compliment that I got drunk and made fun of the way you talk. And so like the implication there is like, I wouldn't be making fun of you if you weren't so attractive. And even though it's like counterintuitive, like, wait a minute, you're making fun of me, that's mean. We all know that's how sometimes people flirt, especially Venus Aries, Sagittarius Venus, fire sign Venuses tends to flirt that way. So yeah, maybe, I feel like in the same vein, in life, sometimes we take something that didn't work out as like, oh, that's so disappointing. But it's like, it's so cool that it happened. It's kind of like if you got nominated for an Oscar, I'm sure you'd be disappointed the night of if you didn't win. But even the fact that you're nominated is freaking amazing and shows you that you're in a different league, right? And so maybe if we focus on that, we won't get so hung up on the meantime, because I feel like for you, there's a disappointment that you're like, I can't believe that didn't work out, or I can't believe something didn't happen exactly like I had wanted. And I feel like you need to give yourself that acknowledgement of how far you've come and also how far you're going. And also that this situation may work out on its own. It doesn't necessarily mean it's completely over or nothing's going to happen with it. I feel like there's still potential in the future. And a lot of you guys are building something. We got the King of Pentacles, we got the Emperor. I feel like this also could be the energy of another party who has their eye on you, maybe romantically attracted to you. So this could be if there was a romantic entanglement, in the words of Jada Pinkett Smith. I always think of that line. Then this could be like this person is still thinking of you and they still dream of you, or they still have you on their mind somehow, and they still have the intention to come back to you. If that's your energy and take what resonates, leave the rest, then I do feel like you're building something, because the King of Pentacles, the Emperor coming out together is very successful, extremely successful. And it's interesting that they bookend the Five of Pentacles, which is not successful. So if you're experiencing failure right now, or you're feeling like things aren't working out, this could be your message of like, dude, you've already done so much. Keep going. Like, why are you even getting in your head about this? Why are you even allowing any doubt to creep in when you've already climbed up the mountain this far? Like, come on. Sometimes we get so obsessed too. I feel like, the Eight of Wands can talk about this a little bit because it's a very speedy card. We get so obsessed with timelines as humans. We want something to happen right now, immediately now. And the reality is that we may not be ready for that. When I think about things that maybe I wanted to happen earlier in my life and didn't work out, at that time, I've always been grateful for like the delay. I've never been like, oh, I wish it had come in a year earlier, because it always comes in at the time when I'm actually ready to receive it. And a few times I've had blessings come in, but I haven't been ready and I fumbled the blessing, right? I wasn't mature enough. I didn't really appreciate whatever it was. I always compare this, and Spirit is bringing up this lesson in my mind, that like one of my uncles, one time when I was like 11, 12, came over and gave me a check for my college fund. And it was a good sizable check, but I didn't know what it really was. Like, I didn't understand. I was first one on Pisces and it already not necessarily the most like down to earth, organized, thinking of like, let me get all the numbers right type energy. But second of all, I was like 12 and I was literally, I remember it so vividly because it was a summer day and my siblings were all playing down in our basement together, our playroom. And I just wanted to get back to whatever we were doing. We were like watching a movie or playing video games or having fun. And I did not want to like sit up there in the living room with my mom and my uncle and, have a nice conversation with him. I was so impatient. All I could focus on was like what we had been doing in the basement and all the fun stuff that they were having without me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get out of here. So I was like, thank you. And I was polite about it, but I was eager to get back down into the basement. And of course, years later, when it came time to go off to college, I was like, what happened to that check? And I think my mom was like, oh, well, I thought you had it. And I was like, but I thought you had it. And I think I put it in my jewelry box. But anyway, the point is the check could not be found because I did not have the mentality to appreciate it at the time, right? I didn't have the vision as a kid to be like, this is very important. And this is something I should look out for. And this is something I should probably put away in a safe or just deposit now. I just was like, to me, it was pretty meaningless. And that's such a good example of like, when we're not at that growth stage, if it had been given to me, I'm sure at like 16, I would have been like, oh, I know exactly what this is. Awesome. I'm mature enough to appreciate it. But at 12, I was just like, I want to go play Mario Kart or whatever. I wanted to go have fun with my siblings and just have fun in summer. So that's my point is like sometimes we can get mad. Why isn't this happening for me now? And we may not be ready for it. We may still have things to alchemize, to work on in ourselves so that we can align with that. That's not a bad thing. If we can be patient enough not to rush the process, not to just demand, I need it to come in now, then we're going to get something so much better in the long run. So I feel like you guys are being called to have a little bit of patience with whatever this situation is and to understand that where you're at right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. So rushing it, worrying about it, like trying to speed things up, trying to finagle things isn't really going to change anything. Or make the timeline any better. Let me get some more cards for pile number one. Let me get some more cards for pile number one. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Knight of Pentacles. So I feel like this could also be a message for you guys about, I don't know. I keep getting a love vibe though for a lot of you guys, just intuitively. I feel like there is a connection to like someone who's thinking of you, someone who has you on your mind, or possibly a new love relationship, but there's some connection with love coming through in your energy fields really strong. But we did get the Knight of Pentacles, which again is this focus on money and career. I feel like a lot of you guys are go-getters and a lot of you guys are going to accomplish stuff. And again, I keep getting this impatience or this feeling of like I'm not doing enough or I'm not where I wanted to be. I'm trying to manifest this and what's happening. And I do feel like you need to know that you are on the right track. You are being responsible. You are going to get there. And I just feel like it's like, kind of giving yourself a little bit of a break, not allowing this Nine of Swords energy to take over where you're worried and you're nervous. And also being open maybe to some kind of reinvention because we did pull the Judgment card. So with the Judgment card, it can show that, when we are willing to transform, when we are willing to go through something and totally reinvent ourselves, then we can have a real blessing. And we have to be open to that. We have to be open to that process of transformation. And this is what I'm getting is I feel like Spirit is enacting a lot of change within you, pile one. I feel like Spirit is really working inside of you to change some bad habits, to undo some things, to shift some things in your life. Spirit is really, really pushing to reinvent you and to make you into a new and a different person and a person that's more ready. You may be feeling ready or wanting to take on certain new responsibilities and to reach certain new levels. But if you're not quite there yet, sometimes that can be more of a curse than a blessing. Another comparison to this is like, think of a lot of child stars or teen stars. They get everything they want by having success at a young age, but they're not capable to handle it. Sometimes that delay, as much as it may be frustrating, if you're like 20 and you're like, oh my gosh, I had wanted to be an actor and look at these Disney Channel kids, they're doing so well. Maybe you're not supposed to reach success until you're 24, and you're going to be so much more capable of handling it well than like one of the Disney kids that got famous at 12 and, had everything handed to them. That may be more of a curse than a blessing for them. Who knows their life, purpose and their life journey. But I just feel like for you, it's really that call to like be okay with where you're at and not to resist this process, because I do think spirit is really urging you and saying to you that you're going to go through transformation and that you're going to just transform in so many ways. Let's see any more cards we want to get from Spirit. Hermit and the Six of Wands. And this is why I said I get the vibe for you that there's like love around you, but it's almost like telling you to focus on yourself. If you have been, I'm not saying if you're in a happy relationship, obviously that's beautiful. And I'm not saying like break up with them and be alone, because we got the Hermit card. But I am getting the vibe that if there was like a love situation that you've been thinking about a lot, I almost feel like spirit is saying that spirit may have something better for you. It may be the same person, but if you guys are in separation or there's a pause in the connection in some way, maybe this person's also undergoing some growth. Maybe they are also changing and transforming so they can be a better partner for you. And this is why you really have to have faith in the process and have that patience and that willingness to like take a step back and not rush it, not freak out that, oh my God, I can't believe it's not happening right now. I can't believe he hasn't texted me in a day or a week or whatever. Maybe there's a reason why there needs to be a little space on both sides. And if it's meant to be, it will come back together and things will work out. But I feel like you're being urged right now to focus on your own life because you are building something really, really amazing. A lot of you guys are like, we got the King of Pentacles, the Emperor, the Knight of Pentacles, the Six of Wands. There's so many positive celebratory cards around you. And it's interesting, the only reversal is the Ace of Cups, which can talk about a new relationship. So if that's being blocked for you, maybe that's being blocked for a reason. Maybe Spirit wants you to focus. Maybe Spirit wants you to be in work mode, hermit mode right now. Maybe you are learning, growing, and changing. And I think you're just being called to open yourself to that process, not to rush it, not to get mad, not to be impatient, but to really understand that this is being done for your greatest and highest good. And Spirit is not trying to, do it to take something beautiful away from you, but to rather make you better able to receive all the blessings that Spirit wants to give to you. So let me pull from this deck. Okay, what messages do we have for pile number 1? What messages do we have for pile number 1? What messages do we have? Stranger curiosity. So this may be like a new love relationship. It really may be a new love that wants to come in for you. Skywriting the fates, straddling worlds, wandering between realms. I do feel like you have someone from your past that's definitely thinking of you up on the astral plane, thinking of you quite a lot. I'm going to get one more card from this deck. Root Girl, the disowned self. Okay, actually one more. Okay, this one says me talks, repairing the body, mind, spirit. And this one kind of wanted to fall out too. So covenant, sacred contract. So I feel like with this person, whoever this was, there seems to be like a connection around you that wanted to come through, and almost like circumstances blocked it, or there was something that couldn't work out. I do feel like there's a message that whatever this is, it's unraveling in its own way. It's unraveling in its own time, and there's almost like nothing you can do to block it. You're meant to learn whatever lessons you're meant to learn from this connection. So if you guys are meant to be together and you're supposed to take a pause, then that's what will happen. But if you are being separated from this person, that may be for a reason as well. And I think you're just going to have to trust what's going on and kind of like not put your energy into worrying about it as much, more taking your energy back and focusing on yourself, because we got skywriting the fates. Some of this is just fated. Some of this is stuff that has to happen this way, even though you may not want it to happen this way, even though it may be unpleasant for you that like, why is this happening? I really liked this person. I can't believe that They haven't called me. Yeah, but maybe there's something going on that's a lot deeper than you even realize. Whatever it is, obviously I can't say. It is a general reading over here, but I think that there's things happening under the surface, whether I'm not saying like this person's cheating or this person's, you know, doing espionage or something crazy. I'm just saying sometimes spirit separates us because one person has to work through a certain issue, or one person has to be focused on another goal, or one person may not be the best partner at this point in their life. And if they were together, they might traumatize you and they may really hurt you because they have avoidant attachment style, or they're kind of a cheater and they don't mean to, but they end up cheating. And whatever it is, you don't want to deal with that. So trust that, like, if a door is being closed for you from spirit, then it's being closed for a reason, and be willing to release that and trust the flow of spirit. Trust the openness that, like, spirit is going to give you exactly what you want for your life purpose. It reminds me of a TikTok that I loved. I'm like obsessed with now, and I reposted it on my TikTok page. But it was about these Buddhist monks, and they were doing sand art, and they work on this sand art for like a week, like fully 6, 7, 8 days, and they put the sand into these incredibly elaborate patterns. So it's like colored sand, and it looks like some kind of a very elaborate, like mathematical puzzle or geometric formation. It's so beautiful, really gorgeous. So they form that into this beautiful art, and then the Buddhist monks go through and they rake it into a total mess. So they spend 7 days working on it, 8 days working on it, and then they just take it and in instants they destroy it. And the point and the purpose of that is to teach one of the main Buddhist principles of non-attachment, and to teach that whenever we get obsessed with something, whenever we're feeling like it has to be mine, it has to look like this, it has to turn out a certain way, we're not trusting in the flow of the universe. And one of the highest spiritual lessons to learn is non-attachment, appreciating an experience for whatever it was, but not insisting that it has to last forever, or it has to turn out this way, or it has to be this person approaching me like that. Like, it's okay if it was a one-time thing. It's okay if it was temporary. It's okay, and it's still just as valid if it doesn't work out exactly like I had it in my head. And I can still take all the beauty and all the blessings from that and move on with that into the future. So I'm not saying whatever this romantic thing is that it's not going to work out, but I also feel like for you guys, you're being urged to focus on yourself, to focus on your own growth and your own journey. And with strangers, you might have someone else who wants to come in and date you. You might have a new person that is kind of edging around the periphery of your energy field and wanting to come in at a certain point and wanting to, have a new connection with you. And so don't limit yourself. Don't be like hung up on someone from the past. Don't be hung up on someone that, you know, spirit doesn't want for you, because I feel like all of this is being so divinely guided. We got skywriting the fates. And I feel like your call for yourself in your life right now is really to focus on your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, because I think you're doing something really amazing. And if you are in a relationship, I know, of course, it's a general reading, so we're going to get all kinds of people. Then I think that I'm not saying like leave this person and be alone. Of course, it can be totally beautiful. Maybe this is something else where you feel overly attached and it was like unhealthy. Maybe it's that you lost, I don't know, you had a pet die, or you had a disappointment at work and you're very hung up on it. But the point is that whenever we're really overly focused on a loss, of course it's normal to feel that. It's normal to like move through the stages of grief and to be sad and to go back and reminisce and, feel upset and miss that person. And I would never say that anyone should not feel that way. But we can also choose that, like, I'm going to keep looking forward. I'm going to keep my eyes on the horizon. I'm going to focus on where I want to go and all the dreams and things I'm trying to build, instead of like the disappointments and the things that didn't work out. Let me get some astro dice for pile number one. What astrological energies are at play for pile number one? So we got the seventh house, Aquarius, and the sun. I love that. So they're showing me the star card in tarot, which is ruled by Aquarius, and then coming out with Leo. That axis can definitely be about public acclaim, public success, admiration from others. So I feel like you guys are really on a very positive track. if things have been going really difficultly in your life, if that's a word, then things may be about to shift and you may be about to have a lot of beautiful blessings come in. And with the seventh house, it could be a beautiful relationship, a romantic relationship, someone that wants to come in when it comes to your love life and date you. And I feel like you have almost like more admirers than you realize. You are like, even, this is such a weird term, but I keep hearing ripe. I feel like it's like, when a fruit is ready to be picked off the vine, it's ripe. And I feel like that's the vibe spirit is saying, like, there's something ripe about you, like you're ready to go. You are in a beautiful energy to manifest whatever you want. So don't be focused so much. It's like, why waste time? Because, when you are ripe, and it's not to say that we can't have, and we can have lots of time. And I don't believe in like a limiting idea of like, oh my gosh, time, or I'm too old for this, or oh, I missed my chance, because we always have lots and lots of chances. But it's like, when you are ripe, like when the strawberries are ripe, or the apple is ripe, or the peach is ripe, you want to pluck it off the vine, within a certain time frame. You don't want to just let it linger there. So in that sense, it's like, why would you waste your time thinking about someone who maybe isn't in your life for any longer, or thinking about a opportunity that didn't work out, or a connection that isn't present in your life, whatever the case may be. Why would you waste time thinking about that when you're so ripe and juicy and ready to go, and there's so many opportunities around you? Why would you just stay there lingering on the vine thinking about like, oh, this person from my past? No, you need to live in the present and allow yourself to be swept away. Or a better example, maybe not like a fruit ready to be picked, but like a rose in bloom, or a flower in bloom. My grandmother had a really massive rose garden, and I loved it. Of course, I always loved roses. That's maybe one of the reasons for my name on here. So I would smell them all the time, and they have a limited like season of blossoming, as all flowers do. So of course, they'd be in the height of their bloom, but then a few weeks later, they'd start decaying. They'd start kind of, bruising a little. They wouldn't look the same. They'd be wilted. They'd still be beautiful. There'd still be so much beauty in them. And a wilted rose has its particular own kind of decayed winter energy type of beauty that can also look stunning. But, there's something to be said for that rose garden in full bloom, fully open. And it's like, that's why we don't want to waste those opportunities. When we are looking good, when we have good things happening for us, we need to take full advantage of that and let that flower for us. Let that blossom into whatever it's meant to be. I want to pull some message cards for you guys to end your reading on. So let me get some cards here for pile number 1. Let's get some message cards for pile 1. Ascending the mountain, keep going forward. Okay. And I really do think, like, with ascending the mountain, and look, that swirled around to come out upright. Take action with passion, valiant courage, first light, beginning a new cycle. So positive. And let's get one more. Transformation, a fresh new way of living emerges. I really feel like you guys are transforming, you're growing, you are beginning this new cycle. And I feel like it's like, you are near the top of the mountain with ascending the mountain, keep going forward. I was actually going to give this metaphor at the beginning of the reading because it came into my mind, but I was getting a lot of metaphors, so I didn't mention this one. But I can see someone like halfway up a mountain and kind of getting discouraged and being like, oh, it's taking forever. Oh my God, like, why is this taking so long? And they don't even realize like they're kind of right near the top. And maybe it's not going to happen right away. Maybe it's not just right around the corner. But if they keep going and they keep a good pace and they continue to be consistent and they continue to keep their eyes on the prize, they will reach the top of that mountain. It is just a matter of time. One of my favorite quotes that I say to myself is, even the mightiest oak falls with 1,000 strokes of the axe. I think that's such a great parable to remember, that if we really try and continuously put our energy towards something, there's almost no way that it can't happen. And most of the time people fail because they give up, because they just get, they had a dream of like, it was going to happen so easily. It was supposed to happen overnight. It was supposed to happen this way. And maybe it's not going to happen exactly the way you picture, but as long as it happens, who really cares? Because I feel like you guys you're really on a beautiful success path. And I feel like you're actually going to get some message of encouragement within the next few weeks. I'm hearing like maybe something is going to happen for you that makes you remember or gives you that confirmation that you are on the right path, that you are close to success. I just think your guides are like, oh, okay, you're almost here. Just need to keep going, keep your eyes on the prize, and don't get discouraged by whatever this disappointment was that maybe you wanted it to work out a certain way, it didn't, but realize how amazing you are and how close you are on this path. So that is the message I have for you, Pile One. I really hope it resonated. If it did, let me know in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys. I would love to know your thoughts and your opinions. Also, make sure to like and give this reading a thumbs up and subscribe. That really helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about why this connection happens, what you were meant to learn from it. So that might be a really helpful one for you guys. I also posted one all about messages from your inner child and where you will be in 4 years' time. But as soon as you sign up, you'll get access to over 75 exclusive readings you'll only get on Patreon. You also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So if that sounds good to you, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. And if you want to get a private one-on-one session with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So if you picked this tomato, this is going to be your reading. So it came with this little knife that you can use to cut it open, and the inside has lots of little seeds, just like a real tomato. So kind of cool if you're into these fake food items. But let's get into your cards. I've been feeling the live shuffles lately, so that's what we're going to do. I still do them on my Patreon, but usually on YouTube I pre-shuffle, but I just love the live shuffle, the vibe, the energy. So let's see what cards we want to get for pile number 2, what messages we have for them. The Magician. Okay, that bodes well. So it can be a message of empowerment for you. 5 of Cups. The Magician leading off can be that reminder of your own power and the reminder of how much you are in control of your own destiny, how you are capable of bringing any reality into reality, any kind of life you want to have, any kind of goal you have, any kind of relationship you want to bring in. All those things are completely and totally within your power. So if you're ever feeling unempowered, if you're ever feeling like I can't do that or something like that could never happen to me, that's your kind of reality check of like, excuse me, you are a creator. You can create exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. So whenever you forget that and get into that place of disempowerment or feeling stuck by circumstances, that's when we need to kind of check ourselves. So we also got the 5 of Cups, the Ace of Cups, the 7 of Wands, the Tower, and the Knight of Pentacles. So for some of you guys, this could be too much focusing on something that didn't work out, something that didn't happen the way you wanted. I almost feel like there's some bitterness or sadness coming up. Maybe there's been some shadow work you've been doing and it's been making you think about past rejections or times when people didn't treat you right. You know, and I always think that that's kind of like a form of purging. Like whenever you suddenly remember that old friend that embarrassed you in front of the crowd and like told a joke, you know, and made a fool of you in front of everyone at that party, and suddenly that memory just comes up and like is right in the center of your consciousness and you can't purge it away. I feel like that's kind of how the universe does make us do shadow work. And if we can actually sit with that emotion and let it kind of wash through us, usually there's some kind of a lesson or there's a release that happens, or we realize that that person, whoever they are, was probably acting out of their own personal pain. They were probably acting out of their own personal failings and trauma. And it's not to justify it or say, so then it's fine and you should feel bad for them. But just it's not for us to worry about because the Akashic records exist. And so karma will come for them whether they like it or not. So if we've had a disappointment, if we've had something that doesn't work out, it's not for us to dwell on the reason why or for us to be upset about it or mad at the person because that's a waste of our own energy. And I feel like with the Ace of Cups, that is your reminder of how powerful your energy is, how powerful your mind is. Pile one, some of you guys I'm hearing maybe psychic or capable of even influencing things with your mind. You may not even realize that you are manifesting things, against your will. Like when you are a powerful manifestor, pile number two. I can feel that around you. So when you're walking around in a funk because that random guy at a store was freaking rude to you, then you are giving away your power and not using it to your own potential. And that's probably exactly what that person wanted deep down inside, whether they were conscious of it or not. They were trying to take away your confidence. They were trying to take away your smile. They were trying to make you dwell on them because they feel powerless and they feel angry and they feel like a loser. And they may be a loser if they're acting like that. So maybe that's true for them. But anyway, the point is, why would you let them win? Why would you let a jealous hater take any of your own energy away? So I feel like in a way, maybe you've had a lot of competitors. Maybe you've had a lot of people who have been trying to take you down or people who have it out for you. Maybe you have had some disappointments come in. And I feel like Spirit is just reminding you of how vital your energy is, how you need to use it on the things you want to have happen and not the things that didn't work out or the things that don't look so good, the things that are disappointments. None of that is worth focusing on because your attention, your energy is so vital. And I could see some of you guys accomplishing really amazing things. I feel like for some of you guys, this could be a creative gift. The Ace of Cups can often talk about a creative vision, a creative insight, suddenly having an idea for a book or a story or a movie or a painting or a recipe or whatever, anything creatively minded. That's the Ace of Cups energy. It's also new relationships with people. So another bad thing that can happen when we feel traumatized, when we feel disrespected, is we can go into hermit mode and move away from our emotions and into that kind of Virgoan, overly critical of ourselves, overly critical of others vibe, and just hide away from the world. And the reality is that, it's okay to take time in hermit mode. And depending on your astrology and depending on whether you're, whatever your human design is, a lot of projectors need time to kind of collect their energy. A lot of water signs do as well because they tend to be empathetic sponges of others, and energy sponges of others and really absorb it. So, it's totally valid to take the afternoon off, take a couple days to decompress. But I also feel like I would hate to see you fully move into hermit mode and not put yourself out there and not explore or enjoy or go after something because there's some past trauma or someone made you feel less than, someone made you feel bad about yourself, someone made you feel um, like you weren't good enough because you are good enough. You are absolutely amazing, pile number two. And this person may have been acting out of a place of jealousy. Anyone who's trying to make you feel not good enough is probably threatened by you because when you truly think someone is not good enough, you kind of just look down on them and ignore them. You know what I mean? You just don't even care what they're doing. Yeah, like you wouldn't worry about what an ant was doing, you know what I mean? Because the ant is so beneath you, you wouldn't be triggered by it, you wouldn't be focused on it. So the fact that someone may have come after you or done nasty things to you is actually proof of how amazing you are. And I feel like you need to stay focused on the prize, what you're going after. Maybe these people can sense the power around you. This could even be people from your past that, maybe there's a purging that's happening with you in your energy field. You're having nasty memories come up. You're thinking back to like that old friend that treated you bad or a family member that did you wrong or an old relationship that disrespected you. And I feel like in a way, some of these people, they may not have been able to see your vision. They may not have been able to see how special you are. On the other side, they may have been triggered by your beautiful bright light and trying to bring you down, trying to make you scared so that you'll stop putting yourself out there, trying to traumatize you because maybe they feed off that in some way. And that's why it's so important to have those defenses and to just be like, no, I am going to be in control of my energy. I'm going to be in control of my path. I am not going to allow someone to push me off what I know is the right thing for me. And so I feel like for you guys, this is about reclaiming your energy, reclaiming yourself, and not allowing anyone to get under your skin, undermine your confidence, or make you think of yourself as any less than. Let me get some more cards for pile number 2. What messages do we have for pile number 2? What messages do we have for pile 2? Let's see. Your shuffles are taking so long, pile 2. I always think it's funny when that happens. Knight of Wands, okay. Ends the Empress, and that one finally flew out for once. So yeah, some people may be triggered by also your physical looks with the Empress coming out. People may be offended by you because you are a whole package. You have charisma with the Knight of Wands. You have beauty with the Empress. You have creativity with the Ace of Cups. And sometimes they may take your kindness for weakness. And there's a really strong message for you about karma and about how all these things are going to play out with the Akashic records on the astral plane. Spirit will take stock of everything that's happening. So you don't need to give too much of your energy or your focus away to worry about that. I feel like Spirit really wants you to be kind of selfish in this life and to focus on you and what you want instead of how someone else is going to react to it, what someone else has to say about it, their negative feelings, their negative opinions, any negativity they've tried to dump on you. It's really important that you push back. Let me get some cards for pile number 2. What messages do we have for pile 2? Fortune's Wheel, luck and right timing. Netcaster, preparations come to fruition. Caterpillar, opportunity. Heart home, compassion and overflow, overwhelm and plenty. I almost get the vibe that some of you guys, you may need to spend a little bit of a break. Like, I feel like in a way, I don't know, it feels like there's a heaviness or there's a sadness around your energy. And I almost feel like some of this does need to be purged and you're just going to have to work through it. Whatever traumas this is, whatever negativity this is, I always find that the best cure to being triggered or upset or sad about something is just sitting with that emotion and kind of allowing it to wash through us, allowing us to go back to that moment or whatever happened and just feeling whatever that was, feeling whatever negativity we need to feel, whatever sadness, whatever fear, whatever anger, whatever humiliation. Because most of the time we realize that maybe at the time things seem to be, I mean, most of the time in the moment when things aren't happening, they happen super fast, right? Like when they're actually happening to you in that moment, it's hard to get a grip of like what's going on. You know, you're just in the moment, living it. You're not processing it outside of yourself. So when we actually mentally go back to that time and we kind of can process it through our older eyes, and now that we know how the situation is going to end and we're not in it trying to navigate it, we can kind of see it with a different perspective and we can kind of be more calm about it and realize that we had more autonomy than we realized. Realize we could have done certain things different, but we didn't, and that's okay. And we learned certain lessons, and that's okay. And giving ourselves that forgiveness and realizing again where that person was coming from. I also kind of like to do this meditation, I guess you could call it, where if something really bothers me, I may tune into that person's energy and ask their higher self, why did they do that? What was the motivation? What was the reason? And it's really interesting because I've gotten all kinds of different answers, leading from I was just having a bad day. I'm a sadistic person. I've played this out for multiple lifetimes. I'm jealous. I was jealous of whatever you had going on. I feel small, so I do this to everyone. But most of the time, the answers are nothing to do with actually who I am and everything to do with whoever that person is. And I would guess that's the case for most situations where someone's being cruel to someone. So I don't know what this situation is, but I feel like you're being called to keep your heart open, not to be closed off, and to really get your mind into that positive place of like continuing to move forward, not getting hung up on the past, not getting hung up on the things that didn't work out or the negativity someone did direct at you. Because I do feel like there's something really beautiful, wonderful that wants to come in. The Ace of Cups can be a beautiful new relationship, a beautiful creative opportunity. We got the Empress, the Knight of Wands. I almost feel like Spirit wants you to spend more time either resting or going out and enjoying yourself out on the town, doing things, but more for fun, not for work. Not because you have to, but because you want to. So even if it's like spending the day shopping or going out to eat at restaurants or going out dancing or meeting up with people and, you know, meeting up with a friend, whatever the case may be, I feel like for you, this is your call to really put more effort into that side of your life. The kind of, some of you guys may have neglected that. You may have let relationships fall off or, let go of certain things. And I also, again, want you to give yourself that permission that maybe some of those relationships had to be let go of. So that's okay. It's okay that you're at the place you're at in your life, and it's okay that you're learning, growing, changing. Everything's unfolding as it should. So I think you need to have more optimism, Pile, too, to be honest with you. I think you need to start thinking of all the ways it will work out, all the positives, all the good things. You know, it's funny because I was reading this thing about how they found that people who are really like harsh with themselves, actually it leads to a ton of procrastination, a ton of kind of stasis, I guess, frozen energy around them, being unable to move forward in action. So they found, it's really interesting. This study is like really fascinating, that the harsher you are. So sometimes we think like, I'm going to put my feet to the fire. Like, you know, if they're trying to get someone to lose weight, people will say, well, you should go up and tell them that they're really fat and that they look awful or something like that. Um, and people will try to do that to themselves. So they think they're holding themselves to be responsible when they're telling themselves something like, wow, you really messed up. And you know what? You should have done that different. And I can't believe you, blah, blah, blah. And talking to themselves in that harsh way. But they have found such a correlation towards negative inner self talk like that, that's really hostile to the self, and behaviors like procrastination, behaviors that are actually very antisocial towards the self, I guess. And so it's interesting to think that the more we change the way we talk to ourselves, the more patience we give ourselves, the more positivity we tell ourselves, the more we tell ourselves that, like, you're doing so good. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy you did this. Good job. Actually, probably the more success we'll have. And in my experience, what I can see with like certain friends of mine that did things that are like big accomplishments, sometimes I'm like, I would never have predicted that. I could never have seen that for them. I don't even think they're the smartest person in the friend group, but I know someone who opened $1 billion company, and I would never have guessed that that person would have been the one to open $1 billion company. It's a very famous company. Um, and they are a billionaire. I would never, ever, ever, ever have predicted that in a million years. And I don't think anyone else in the group would have either. But sometimes it's just about being that person who has the confidence and that inner self voice. It's like, yeah, I can do this. And will apply for that role or take on that job or open that company despite all odds. And the person who's like overly self-critical and telling themselves, you're not so good, or you need to improve at that, or blah, 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 you really messed that up. They think they're helping themselves improve, but they're causing themselves to be in like this energy of stagnation and block and fear and like, I'm not good enough yet. Let me improve. I'll do it later. So it's almost like the more bold we can be, the more we can just do it, as the Nike phrase is, the better off we'll be. And for sure, I have seen that in my friend group, or in my, not even friend group, I guess I should say greater social circle, people I've known from the past, people I've known from, schools and stuff. It's always the person who just is the one who's like delusional enough to go for it and to try it and to ask for what they want, that usually accomplishes something. That's the actual truth. That's probably why Nepo babies do really well, because they have that confidence from like, never being told no. Like, it really does work in so many things. Okay, so let me get some message cards for you. Pile number 2. What messages do we have? overcoming obstacles. You can overcome anything. So now Spirit's gassing you up. Spirit's talking you through this and trying to get you to have more confidence. Yeah, I almost feel like there needs to be a switch with your energy, with your attitude. I feel like you have more power, more gifts, more abilities than you really give yourself credit for, Pile 2. I feel like you're actually you are kind of like your own harshest critic. And you tend to see your flaws and you think that that's a good thing. You think like, oh, I'm being harsh on myself, but it's only so I'll grow. But then you procrastinate, or then you get stuck in like, yeah, I'm really not good at it. You know what? I'm just going to delete this whole thing I wrote because I could never publish it. You know what I mean? Like you think you're being helpful to yourself by criticizing, but you're actually not. And it's actually the person who's delusional enough, like so many people will comment, on Goodreads or on different places like, oh my God, this is so badly written, but this book got published, or some movie comes out and the plot line makes no sense. Again, so many Nepo babies in the industry. What are the statistical odds that like the distribution of talent was strictly along family lines of someone who's born in like Los Angeles or born in like the posh London society, all these little pockets that we tend to source our artists from? Very unlikely, very, very unlikely. But the thing is that they think they can make it. They saw their dad make it. They saw their mom make it in the industry. They probably have friends who are connected to the industry. And yeah, some of it's the connections for sure. I'm not downplaying that, but also it's just that attitude. Because when I have known people who are kind of like Nepo babies around me, and I have known some, they always have a level of delusional self-confidence that I'm always like, wow, okay, that's crazy. Like imagine, I can think of a lot of daughters of famous directors who become actresses and who will start in their movies, their first movie, their first roles will almost always be in their dad's projects. Like to be honest with you, because I am definitely that self-critical person too, I would be so embarrassed to be like, oh yeah, so I was in this role that was directed by my dad, and yeah, so my mom's the casting director, and yeah, so my dad, then the second role, that's also my dad's movie. You know what I mean? Like I would never be able to do that because I would have too much like inner shame of like, this is so embarrassing. This is clear proof that no one else wanted to cast me. But the Nepo babies who do that, they end up having huge success. And that's my point, is we shouldn't even be hating about it. We should be like, you know what? Let me just take that attitude of like blind faith in myself and like delusional, I know I can do this. I know I'm good at it. Instead of hating on it, instead of being like, that is so cringe that that person thinks that, why don't we just like adapt that same mentality and be like, I know I can do this. Sure, I'll take whatever advantage I can. I don't care. I'm going to become an actress because I just feel like it, and my dad will give me the role. Like that attitude actually does get you far in life. Truly, it does. So, again, I mean, people can talk about the morality of it or whatever, and I agree that there's moral issues with that. But at the same time, if we want to manifest our best life, we have to have that level of blind faith in ourselves, because if we don't have it, I promise no one else will have it. And I feel like you guys need that like pep talk, or you need to have some kind of like wake up call with how you're talking to yourself. Because I do feel like you talk to yourself in a harsh way, to be honest. I feel like you are your own biggest critic more than anyone else. Open your heart to joy, joy and delight. Fogged in, go slow, take time, and rejuvenating rain. Clear the past, heal the present. So I do feel like, again, this is this shadow work that y'all have been doing. A lot of you guys have been doing shadow work. A lot of you guys have been working through past issues. And if it's been a painful time and a lot of negative memories have come up and you've been feeling a little overwhelmed by like, God, this sucks. Like, I hate feeling this, and this is so hard, and I've been feeling depressed, and I keep having these memories of my old relationship or some bad thing from my past. Just know that I feel like you're doing so much important work. You're going to be so happy at the end that you did all this work. I know it stinks, but trust me, the end result you're going to be so happy with. And I feel like your guides, angels, and ancestors are really proud of you for being willing to do that, for being willing to take on the work. And it may take time, so don't rush yourself. Don't feel like it has to happen overnight. But I feel like you are making incredible progress. Let's get some astro dice to end this reading on. What are the astrological energies at play for pile number 2? So we got the 11th house, and then we got Mercury, and then we got Leo. So we have Aquarius, Gemini, Virgo, and Leo. So, 11th house, Aquarius energy, is the house of hopes and wishes. It's actually a beautiful house for wishes coming true. It's also a house of larger groups of people. I also feel like some of you guys, you worry a lot about how others perceive you. You worry about a lot about your reputation in like a group. And I feel like you really need to take your energy away from that entirely. Honestly, who cares what people think of you? And as we move into the energy of Aquarius, as Pluto is in Aquarius, I think you're going to see that more and more because Aquarius is an energy that really doesn't mind being different, really doesn't mind being a weirdo. And in a weird way, they actually get a lot of popularity because of this. I am not a fan of this man because of his actions in his personal life. Let's just say I am definitely not a fan of him, but he comes up all the time because he's an Aquarius ascendant. He's a great example of it. So, Johnny Depp, not a fan. Let me reiterate, not a fan. But he is a great example of an Aquarius ascendant. And, you know, he apparently got that role of Jack Sparrow, and everyone was like completely shocked when he came in and he started acting like Keith Richards and doing a Keith Richards impersonation. And they're like, this is a 1600s, 1700s like pirate movie. Like, what are you doing? It's for Disney. And he basically refused to change. He wanted to do it differently. He wanted to do it weird. And obviously, that was a huge success for him. His whole public persona has been off of being a little bit weird, a little bit different, whatever. And, you know, even when he was a heartthrob back in the day, he wanted to take the weirdo roles. That's such an Aquarius thing. It's like, I don't care that you judge me. And in fact, I want you to think I'm weird. I want you to think I'm strange. And as we move into Pluto and Aquarius, I really think that behavior is going to be rewarded. And I also feel like for you guys, you're just being called to personally stop giving so much attention to the judgment of others, what people have to say about you, what they think about you, because they are not going to define your future. Even if you get that approval, it's probably pretty much worthless. Focus on yourself, pile number 2, to be honest with you. We got Leo for you. Leo is definitely an energy that knows to focus on itself and will put itself out there with complete bravery. Leo is totally that energy that would let their director dad cast them in the movie. And they don't care what anyone has to say about it, you know? They don't care if you are like, well, you didn't get this role. They're going to be like, well, I get to star in it, whatever. And, you know, that is an energy we can learn from and we can adapt because it's like, we all need to put ourselves out there in the world. We all need to show ourselves to the world as much as possible. And that's how the collective will benefit. So I feel like for you, this is about coming more into yourself and really having faith in your own process. Then we also have Mercury, Gemini, and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. So for you guys, this could be a creative project that wants to come in, a communication project progress, I don't know what I was going to say, or just you having more confidence in like what you want to say, putting yourself out there more, being more honest about your opinions, you know? So I feel like you're being called to really overcome this doubt, this inner self-talk, and start making it an active habit that you correct yourself if you say anything negative. And if you mess something up and do something wrong, you don't beat yourself up about it or say like, you messed up. Oh, I can't believe you did that. Well, that was bad. But tell yourself, I'm doing so good. Wow, I look fantastic. I look amazing. I did such a good job today. I'm really proud of myself. I'm proud of how far I've come. And patting yourself on the back, and I bet you'll be amazed at how much things change for you. So that is the message I have for you, pile number 2. I really hope that resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts, your stories, observations. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about what was the purpose of this connection. So why did you meet that person? What was the point of it? We get into all of that, and also a reading before that about where you'll be in 4 years' time, and before that, a message from your inner child. There's so many readings over on Patreon, over 75 exclusive readings you only get on Patreon. You also get early access and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So if that sounds good to you, sign up for Patreon at the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description. And if you would like to get a private one-on-one session with me, maybe you have a burning question, an issue you want clarity on, or you just want a generalized channeling specifically for you from your guides and your team on the other side, then go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile three, welcome to your reading. So if you picked this potato, this is going to be your reading. So it comes with this little knife set and you use to cut it apart. You can see that the inside is pretty plain, just like a real potato. But it has lots of little eyes on the outside, lots of markings, just like the real thing. Pretty cool if you're into food toys. But let's get into your cards. I've been feeling the urge to do some live shuffles lately. I've always done them on my Patreon, but I wanted to bring them back to YouTube. I just love the vibe of a live shuffle. So let's see what messages your guides have for you. Pile number three. What messages? Okay, Seven of Cups reversed. There may be something that you're envisioning, trying to manifest that may not be realistic for you within a certain time frame, is what I'm hearing. There may be something that you have been trying to bring in or trying to do for yourself, and it's almost like it's okay to dream or visualize it, but we also want to be realistic about like there's no need to put pressure on ourselves that we have to like manifest $100,000 by tomorrow. You know what I mean? We can understand that like there's a process to things unfolding and kind of have patience with that. So that could be a message for some of you guys about with your manifestations, making sure that you really feel in alignment with them, making sure that they truly feel real and tangible to you. You know, how I think of it as like when I'm trying to manifest something, I almost feel like I could reach out and touch it, or does it feel completely unrealistic? When I think of the thing, whatever it is, in my mind, does it kind of connect and click together and magnetize and feel like something that is tangible and real and good, or does it feel like a lack of, oh my God, that's not going to happen when I'm saying it in my mind, oh, I'm going to manifest blah blah blah? Does it feel like I'm lying to myself? Does it feel like yeah, I'm going to manifest $1 million, and it just feels like it doesn't click at all? Because it's really important to make sure if we're trying to manifest something, if we're trying to build something, like that we can feel that energy, that of like of go, kind of like a green light. Yes. You know, that energy that like, yes, it's flowing correctly. Yes, it's working. Yes, it's unfolding and it feels real and it feels tangible and it feels good. That can kind of be our compass or guidance. And for some of you guys, this may be something where there's something you're trying to manifest, but you're not fully believing it. You're not fully giving it your all. You have a little bit of doubt, or you're trying to put it on a timeline that is too fast and you kind of need to be more patient with it. You know, you need to like understand that things are also unfolding in a faded way as well. Yeah, that's just a message for some of you. Okay, we got the Knight of Pentacles reversed, Knight of Wands, Knight of Swords reversed. What other messages do we have? The Five of Swords and the Hermit. Okay, so for some of you guys, there needs to be a little bit more of an energy reset, I guess, with the Knight of Swords being reversed, the Knight of Pentacles reversed. I'm being told to ask you, like, are you fully aligned with what you're doing for your job? Do you feel excited about doing it, or are you like dreading going into the office? Do you hate doing it? Do you hate having to communicate with your boss? Do you hate having to um, do you hate having to do all the things you have to do with your workplace? Because there may be a message for you about pivoting slightly, doing something differently, or yeah, maybe you can stay within that job, but you could just do it a little bit differently. Maybe there's something with you taking like a new approach to something in your life. If there's something that's making you feel drained, it's also okay to pull your energy back and kind of approach it a little bit differently. You don't have to stay in the same energy doing things the same exact way. It's okay to take your energy out, pivot, take a look, do it differently. I almost feel like some of y'all in this pile are over givers, like you give too much. You may be the kind of person who gives and gives and gives and works yourself to the point of exhaustion. With the Hermit coming out upright, this may be a need for you to pull your energy back a little bit and to look after yourself. Make sure you're getting enough rest, make sure you're getting enough sleep, and make sure you're also taking downtime to do the things you really love. do you take a day off? And when you take a day off, do you actually do things that will like genuinely regenerate your energy, or are you burning yourself out? And then on your day off, you just park in front of the TV and kind of like mindlessly watch stuff and like scroll through TikTok, and you feel just as exhausted by the time you go into the office on Monday as you did when you left on Friday. So there's a need for you to, I think, almost like flower your garden, or that sounded really crazy. Um, I guess what water your garden, water your flowers. I'm seeing the image in my mind of someone who has like a, what is it called? I don't even know, a watering bucket, and they are watering their plants and they are going around on all the flowers and like raining down that water. And I feel like that's kind of what you need to do. You need to bring your energy back to yourself and allow yourself to have a little bit of a pause and a little bit of a rest. Because I do feel like you are prone to going maybe a little bit too hard, pushing yourself a little bit too much. Maybe, maybe in a way too, I feel like some of you guys, you almost like stifle yourself, or you have a lot of self-doubts. Maybe you have a really good idea for something that you should do that could be really profitable, or really a good idea when it comes to a business thing or a career move. But then you tend to doubt, second guess, you tend to get in your head about it. You won't actually verbalize it. And I feel like it's almost like you are pulling the reins back. You are the one that is preventing yourself from going a million miles an hour. You're the one who has your foot on the brakes, not spirit. Like I feel like this thing is ready to take off, but there's some reticence, there's some fear. And again, this may be a way of doing something a little bit different when it comes to your career. Maybe whatever you've been doing, it's working, but it could be better, or it's not happening on the timeline you would like. And if that's the case, this may be a need to like kind of reset and be like, okay, what download can I get from spirit about how I should do this differently? What has spirit been putting into my mind and into my consciousness that I've been pushing back against, instead of fully leaning into it and embracing it and going for it? Because I think sometimes like it's almost like people get into a safety zone, right? And they feel very comfortable with what they're doing. So they're super afraid to change. They're super afraid to like wipe that out and like be on to the next, which is so funny. Spirit just showed me in my mind, and I know y'all are gonna not be surprised at all, but Taylor Swift. But the reason they're bringing up Taylor, I think, is Pluto. Okay, so trying to get all my thoughts together. But basically, Taylor Swift has Pluto conjuncting her ascendant. And the funny thing about that is she's not the only major superstar. Almost all the biggest celebrity women and like superstars are Pluto in the first house or Pluto conjunct ascendant. So Taylor has hers conjunct her ascendant technically in the 12th house. Beyonce has Pluto in the first house. Madonna has Pluto in the first house. And when you think about all those women, and kind of one thing that unites them is they're constantly all reinventing themselves. Whether it's Beyonce and her B-Day album, and then, how that shifted into um, Renaissance, and her, what was her album that she made about Jay-Z cheating on her? I can't remember, but she was really mad in that album. She's always willing to like try on a new persona, try on a new identity. And if you think about how she was in the beginning of her career and how she is now, it's very different. And of course, Taylor has her individual eras, and then Madonna has reinvented herself so many times and changed her aesthetic, changed her vibe a million times over. And I think what unites them is they're all willing to embrace change. Because I think a lot of celebrities, they probably feel like, well, I can't change now. Like, I'm known as the wholesome teeny bopper. I have to stay in that energy. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to risk alienating my fan base. Or I'm known as the bad girl, so I'm not going to change that. Or I'm known as, this kind of music. So I don't want to pivot. I don't want to alienate anyone. But it's funny because those three, I would say, are the biggest in music. I mean, maybe Madonna not so much now, but she was at the time for like 20 years. She was. And so what they all have in common is as soon as they outgrow something, they throw it away. And that is such a Plutonian energy, because Pluto is all about death and rebirth, and they trust that process. They understand that if something is dying, it's because it needs to die, and that it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be forever. In the same way that when all the leaves die on the trees in fall and winter, we don't think, oh my God, this tree is permanently dead. It's never coming back. This whole area has been wiped out, and oh my God, what's happening to the trees? They're all dying. We think, oh, it's fall and the leaves are dying and they'll be back in spring. And when they do come back, they'll be even stronger. They'll be bright green instead of like decayed brown. There'll be, birds chirping, and there'll be blossoms flowering. We trust that process, and we understand that the only way for those beautiful blossoms to come out is for the trees to die. But when it comes to our own life, we can get so reticent to like allow a cycle to end or allow an identity to end. We can be so fearful about like the new era. And I think that that is what is the reason why Taylor, Madonna, Beyonce have gotten as big as they are and have had that longevity that others haven't had, is because Pluto in the first house probably has made them experience many cycles throughout their lives. So they are trusting of that process. When they feel that intuitive, because Pluto also gives you psychic abilities. So when they feel that intuitive call to like, let something go, they're not going to hold on to it as much as someone else might, because they've already been taught that lesson by Pluto, that when it's time to go, it's time to go. Release and let it go. And Pluto will reward you with something much better if you're willing to allow that change to happen. If you're willing to embrace the new and let go of the old, Pluto will reward you with something bigger than you could have ever dreamed of, because Pluto is actually powerful. It's a power planet. It literally deals directly with power issues, power in general, all kinds of power Pluto will confer. So for you guys, I feel like it's almost like whatever you are holding on to that you feel like you've outgrown, whatever you feel afraid to embrace, but you have felt called to, you really need to be willing to be bold, be willing to trust this process and release what's no longer serving you, because I do feel like Spirit has something much better for you in mind. Let me get some more cards for pile number 3. We want to know what messages you have for pile 3, Spirit. The 3 of Wands. I'm telling you, this is about you exploring. This is about going outside your bounds. 8 of Cups. Oh my God, I love this confirmation. I'm really glad to see those, because I was like, I think I'm channeling it right, but I just love when Spirit confirms, because these are both cards about leaving things behind and stepping into the old. 8 of Cups is more about leaving it behind. 3 of Cups is about stepping into the bold and the new and the different adventure. But with the 8 of Cups, that really is about leaving something behind, even when it's not like the absolute end. Like, I think sometimes everyone waits to change once it's like completely decayed and like there's no salvaging it. You know what I mean? And the 8 of Cups is about feeling like, I could stay. It's not that bad, but I'm not that fulfilled. I'm going to find greener pastures. And that's something that, again, is so Plutonian, that all those artists have in common. Like when I think of like Taylor Swift, when she left country, she was really big in country music. She was like the #1 artist, and not even just within country, but it was for her country music, and she pivoted to pop and got even bigger. And having that faith and trust, having that faith in the process, that like, I'm going to leave this behind. And same with like Beyonce, when she started pivoting into more of her adult kind of vibe, like more mature and more artistic. Again, I can't think of, Lemonade. That was her big album that kind of like, I think she had one before that, but anyway, that was her big album that really made her more artistic, right? But before that, she'd had a lot of commercial success. It's not like her career was over and she needed to pivot and she was like at the end of the road and, like, oh my God, let me try to change things because this isn't working. Things were already working for her, but she decided to change anyway. And that is the energy of Pluto, is just intuitively sensing that like, I gotta change, I gotta transform, I've got to allow this to transmute me. And I feel like for you guys, this is about you embracing the new and trusting that process, trusting that if you've gotten the message and the download, because again, Pluto also is a highly, highly, highly psychic planet. I mean, Pluto, Neptune, the moon, those are the psychic planets. So when you're getting a download from Pluto, it's going to come intuitively. It's not going to come to you logically. It's not going to be one of those situations where you're like, I need to move because my landlord told me. It's going to be like, I just need to move. I keep getting this download. I keep getting this tug. It's not, I need to leave this job because my boss sat down and told me that, my numbers were wrong. It's going to be like, I just feel like this need, I need to leave my job. I just feel it inside. I just intuitively keep getting this. And that is spirit talking to you. So I feel like for you guys, this is about being willing to trust the process, being willing to trust that spirit has something so much better for you on the other side of whatever this is, and being bold and going for it and not living in the past or what could have been or what should have been or what almost happened. But okay, this is the new life. This is where we're at now, and we are going to embrace it and go for it. Let me get some of these cards for pile number 3. Pile number 3, we want to know what messages you have for pile 3. Eyes of the eagle rising above the fray. And that's funny because Scorpio has 3 archetypes: the scorpion, the eagle, and the phoenix. So, yeah, just more of that Plutonian scorpionic energy hanging around you, like embracing change. And also the eyes of the eagle card is also about taking that bird's eye view, not looking at things. I think so much of the time when we have that fear of change, it's because we're so much in our own feelings. And that's normal. It's normal to be human and to be worried about our own situation. Like it's like someone could come up to you and tell you that their dog died, and you might be sad for them, but you're not going to be like sobbing, crying the way you would if it was your dog. That's normal, right? It's normal to be caught up in our own problems and to be focused on our own life. But we also want to try to sometimes be like dispassionate about it. Like I think to a certain extent, when we get so fearful, when we get so caught up in our own dramas, we can't really see the forest for the trees. We can't really see what's going on. We can't really see all our options. We can't really see that this new thing we want to do that is really risky, and maybe it kind of isn't the same salary we've been getting, or it's kind of outside our comfort zone, is actually the best thing for us because we're so focused on like, but I have to pay my bills and I've been making this. And what if I don't have money and then I can't flex on blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's so easy to get caught up in our own personal life, almost to the compromise of clarity or having that full vision of what's going on. It's kind of like if you're down in a neighborhood versus when you're up in a plane flying over it and you can see every street and you can see exactly where you can go. That bird's eye view gives us and allows us to have that clarity. So I feel like for you, you are being called to pivot somehow and almost show more of yourself or be more honest or do something a little bit different. And I feel like Spirit is saying like, this is, if there's something you wanted, if there's something like you wanted to manifest more money, you wanted to manifest, this could be why the 7 of Cups was reversed, that there's a blockage there. You've wanted to get more accolades in your career or have a better relationship or whatever. It could be that it's not happening because you're resistant to this change and Spirit wants to bring it in, but you're too afraid of it. So I feel like we also got beloved, radical acceptance, repairing the veil, forgiveness, lost in space, needing direction, and in the hand, the universe is your partner. So yeah, the universe is working with you, for you, alongside you. And I don't think you need to be afraid of these changes. I don't think you need to be worried about what if the universe steers me wrong? Whenever I get those downloads from Spirit, sometimes they make no sense to me of what I'm supposed to do next in my life or something that's going to happen. Sometimes I'm like, how would that happen? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see, but I always trust the downloads because to me, they come true more than anything else. Any type of vision I try to seek out on my own could never come close to the random vision, the random like insight flash of a scene that Spirit puts in my head, right? So whenever we get that, that is like solid gold from Spirit. It is like an ace moment. And of course, ace in Kabbalah, the aces in tarot, in Kabbalah are the highest element of God, Kether. So it's literally a God moment when we get that download, when we get that flash of insight, I need to do this. And sometimes it's that thing we really don't want to do. It's that thing that really makes us nervous. But if it is a download and an insight from Spirit, and Spirit has been pushing you that you should do this, you should go for it, you should try this, then that's something we really need to embrace and say yes to. I feel like you honestly have something so valuable to share with the world, pile number 3. And I feel like your guides really want you to push yourself a little bit outside of your comfort zone with this and kind of go for it. Instead of allowing your doubts to win over. I'm hearing like there's some kind of a line or a quote or a saying that I'm hearing in my head. And it's like, a safe, a boat in the harbor is always safe, but it wasn't built for that. You know what I mean? There's some kind of like saying with that. I can't think of the exact one. If you know, you can leave it in the comments. But yeah, I feel like that saying is really true. Like we are meant to experience life. We're meant to fail. We're meant to fall down. We're meant to make mistakes. And so maybe just giving yourself that leeway as well to like, yeah, maybe this won't work out perfectly and that's okay too. You know, it's kind of like, again, Beyonce, Taylor, Madonna, they don't stay in those new eras every single time. Like Taylor had her Reputation era, now that's over. Beyonce had her Lemonade era, now that's over, and she shifted to a new aesthetic. So that's another thing that Pluto, maybe it gives them the bravery because they understand that it's temporary and it's not going to be forever. So, you know, if there's something they need to do to get ahead in that moment, they're going to do it. They're going to take that risk. They're going to be kind of mercenary about it. And then if they don't like it, they can pivot later. Let me see if I can get one more card for you. Fortune's Wheel, Luck and Right Timing. So that is your reminder of the importance of timing. And that's why it's really important to embrace these downloads when they happen instead of putting them off or, you know, delaying, having all these doubts, letting the doubts win over. When we get that download from Spirit, it's something we really, really, really need to listen to and pay attention to very deeply instead of, you know, hemming and hawing and wasting our time and dawdling and worrying and, you know, just wasting time. We need to actually embrace it and go for it. Let me get some astrology dice for you, pile number 3. So we got the moon, we got Aquarius, and we got the 7th house. So the moon is another highly psychic sign. And I really do feel like Spirit has been trying to guide you psychically, maybe giving you prophetic dreams, maybe just giving you waking downloads, whatever this is. I feel like you kind of have been nudged intuitively towards it and you have been resistant for some reason. Aquarius is the 11th house of hopes and dreams and wishes coming true. So it's really showing you that all is possible. And the 11th house also rules over collective energies, large groups, the collective. So for you guys, I feel like there's something you're meant to share with the collective. You're meant to share with a lot of people, and they may benefit so much from having access to whatever this is. And this is the sad thing about people who doubt, like, oh, I had this idea for a book, or I had this idea for a movie, but you know what? I'm probably not good enough. Or I had this idea for a YouTube channel, but I bet no one would care, so I'm not going to post it. The universe and the collective may need you to post that. The collective may be so hungry for that kind of material, and everyone may benefit as a whole from you sharing this with the world. It may be destined for you to share this to influence someone, and then they're going to do something, and then they spread it to this person. Who knows? You don't know the path. And that's why it's really important for us to just lean into that energy of trusting the process, allowing Spirit to do with it whatever Spirit wants to. But we have to be bold and accept the missions and the downloads when Spirit gives it to us. Then we have the 7th house. The 7th house is all about union with others. It's about compromise. It's about diplomacy. It's about good social skills and grace and charm. It's ruled by Libra and Venus. So there may be people that you're supposed to meet up with, people that you're supposed to partner up with, team up with, who will be much more aligned with your more authentic self. One thing about Libra is Libra can have a really hard time voicing their opinions, saying how they feel, being fully honest, because they're so afraid to hurt someone's feelings, step on people's toes. They're the ultimate diplomats, but that can lead them to get into bad situations or to kind of sacrifice their own desires. So again, I feel like Spirit is really calling on you to be bold, to be energetic, to not worry so much about how others are going to take this and focus more on yourself, your wants, your needs, your desires, and making what you want happen. Let's get some message cards for pile number 3. So we got First Light, beginning a new cycle, and this one says rainbow blessings. Blessings are showering your life, so you are beginning a new cycle. Pile number 3. That's amazing. Watching clouds, lie back, rest, and relax. I definitely think you are being called to take a little bit of leisure time, surrendering to the journey, release control. I love that for you. But with watching clouds, I really do think like some of you guys just need to take a little bit of a rest or a break. You may find that if this idea that keeps coming to you, you're like, I have no idea of how I'm going to go about it, or I don't know how I could make this happen, or I'm really nervous and scared about making it happen, and I don't know what to do. You may find that if you take like a week off and you kind of spend some time enjoying the things you want to enjoy, you give yourself even a couple days off or a day off, whatever, you may have a better perspective. You may be able to think more clearly. Spirit can bring us these downloads, especially when we're in a place of relaxation, a place of rest, when our mind is calm, when we are not stressed out and rushing around. That's when spirit doesn't really want to come through towards us. And we can't, well, spirit comes through, but we can't hear them. So I really feel like you're being called to take a little bit of a break, or to pull back your energy a little bit, pivot. You may find that you're working way harder than you need to, and you could actually get way more benefits, and it wouldn't be as difficult as the work you've been doing lately. We also got surrendering to the journey, release control. And I think that's what it is when you're really living a spiritual life, serving out your highest destiny. It's going to feel like there's an element of releasing control, that you're on a path that is carved out by fate, and there's not as much that you can do. You are floating down that river of life that spirit has put you on. And so it can be really scary, but it's also really exciting, right? And I feel like for you guys, maybe there's something very spiritually important that you are fated to do, fated to carry out. And I feel like spirit is nudging you to get on this path, to give it your all. And that's when you may see all the blessings and the abundance really start to come in. So that is the message I have for you. Pile number 3. I really hope it resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts, your stories. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe. That really helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. I just posted a reading all about what you are meant to take away from this connection, why this connection happened, what was the purpose of it. And before that, I posted one all about where you will be in 4 years' time. And before that, messages from your inner child. So there are over 75 exclusive readings you'll only get access to when you sign up for Patreon. You also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. And yeah, you also get to vote and suggest on new topics. So if all of that sounds good to you and you want to join us on Patreon, go to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description, and I would love to see you there. Also, if you would like to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for an hour-long or a half-hour session with me. Ask me specific questions if you have one specific query, or if you are wanting just an open channeling energy check-in, we can also do that. You get to really decide how it goes. So if that sounds good to you and you want to book a session with me, like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.